looked at my white friends, when they would listen to rap, they would listen to it for its music, but then they would go off and not do it. Blacks felt like they had to live what the words were in these songs. So the worse these songs became, the worse the culture became. Blacks didn't used to be counterculture like that. We didn't used to want to not speak English correctly. We didn't used to want to not want to get a job or want to not do these things. But when music started to tell you this is what a real N-word is, and then being a real N-word was something that you had to aspire to be as a black person, that being defiant, being a headache, being disruptive, the music pushed it and the people went along with it. And you got to ask, blacks did not own one music studio, one record company. And the people who's had these record companies.
Were they white people?
They were white adjacent. They wore hats, but their hats had no brims.
Pretty much all of the same people, right?
Yes. And then you look who was making the money, and they wouldn't allow you. They would allow me to call, if it would be hard for me to say they're white, because when I talk about white people in the music, they allowed it. Yep. But if I talked about
them, they buzzed out.
They sure beeped it out.
Michael Jackson.
Yep. They made sure that didn't get said.
Yeah, they cut the one word. You can say the N-word, but you can't say the K-word.
And think about this. How is there a thing called anti-Semitism, but there's not a thing called anti-white then?
Yeah.
But they will mask themselves and say, well, we're white when they're doing something wrong. So then the blacks and everybody else can say, look at what those white people are doing. But when it comes time for them to separate themselves, they will. They say, well, we're not white.
Yeah.
We're not white. They're white, and they're the evil ones. So if it's wrong to talk bad about them, then it should be, and it's wrong to talk bad about blacks, then it should be wrong to talk bad about whites too. It shouldn't be okay for me to dehumanize whites. But I blame y'all. You said I think it almost is equal responsibility of the problem with blacks. I 100% blame y'all. Let me tell you why. Because it's like when your children. If your children grow up to be ain't shit, and because you were weak on them and you let them do it, everything you just said, there is an allowance of blacks to do what they do. When a black woman sits and is loud on the bus, you can't say anything to her. She can call you all kind of white devils.